Talk about the story of Aunt Jemima getting a new logo and name due to the circulation of a racist stereotype that is heavily involved within the name of its famous maple syrup brand. According to CBS, Aunt Jemima is getting a new name, new logo, and new look after announcing that it would be dropping this brand name to a new name that is called Pearling Mills Company. Following the criticism that it was dealing with the featured of a caricature of a black woman stemming from slavery, to which was considered a racist stereotype. The Pearl Mill Company was a small mill in the bustling town of St. Joseph's, Missouri. Using a pearl milling technique, they produced cornmeal and flour in the beginning in 1889. This controversy with the name change started to become a bigger thing when George Floyd was murdered by the 4 Minneapolis police officers. One article that I can relate this controversy with is the Drew pretending to be post-racial reading. As I read this article, a quote that I found fascinating was, and I quote, "African Americans' comfort with one another was shown as being a comfort with an essentialized blackness. Right away, 4 of the 5 tribe members made reference to their group as family, and often to being the black community, and even calling themselves blood. Reading this, it reminds me of how connected the African community is, and showing that even when one brother of the African Americans is down, they're still there all together to comfort themselves, letting themselves know that, hey, we're going to get through this together, we're all family, we're going to grow, and most of all, we're going to win." And another article to which I can relate this controversy with is the race and ethnicity in U.S. media content and effects. And in this article, it talks about the negative implications of exposure for black audiences. And a quote that I found in that article that I can relate this with is, and I quote, "During this time period, portrayals of blacks on television were infrequent and largely stereotypical. Often blacks were depicted as lazy and unemployable. From my personal experience while watching the news, this is very much true, as the news media would display that George Floyd, for example, was a past criminal. And we're pretty much sad to see something like this, because again, it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with laziness and unemployable. But how did this controversy that I'm talking about and this article relate to one another is the media is going to try to find a way to make the victim look bad. Just for example, the media's depiction of presenting the racial stereotype towards African Americans is still big, to which diminishes the African American community down in a way to which makes them look terribly bad. When I read the readings, it helped me understand that racial stereotypical acts towards African Americans, such as this one, is still an unfortunate issue. This decision made by Pearl Mills Company to change their name is an ideal move that will inspire other companies to start stepping up and making changes to dismantle the racial stereotypical characteristic behaviors in the near future. According to ABC, some other companies and other workplaces, such as the Washington football team, musical groups, The Chicks, and Lady A, and fruit product companies such as Cream of Wheat, Mr. Buttersworth, and Dreyer's Grand Ice Cream, who announced it would be dropping the brand Eskimo Pie after a century. This is a significant sign that Pearl Mills Company is inspiring others to make the correct. A question, however, that I want my audience members to think further is, what was your reaction to Aunt Jemima brand name getting changed to Pearl Mills Company? And if so, do you think changes like this, for example, will help society heal and end racial stereotyping? What are your thoughts?